I've been looking for something to upgrade my PC setup with, so how about some plants? I like it, but it's just not my style. Welcome to Fluora.
Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
So, Fluora, although I keep wanting to pronounce it Fluora, is the world's first LED plant. This was originally a Kickstarter thing that has successfully shipped their first production run, and I got 2 of them. Just to clarify, this is not a sponsored video, though I've never been sponsored for anything. I'm just making this video just because I think this is an amazing product and it needs more eyes on it. So as you can see here, this was designed to be a plant in disguise. It looks like a normal house plant, but then at the press of a button, the leaves slide up to any color or pattern you want. It arrives in 2 boxes, though 3 if you get their optional stand. In the long box, you will find 5 branches, as well as 18 of their RGB leaves. Here's a little closer look at the branches. They are a nice shiny green that has some type of brown or reddish paint that's been splattered along it to give it a more natural look. And here's a closer look at the leaves. It does have a bit of a fake look to it, but I think that's because they had to find a nice balance of something that looks like a leaf, but at the same time is translucent enough to allow the LEDs inside to be able to shine through and make the leaf look like any color. After opening the bigger box, you will find an instruction booklet, a bag of moss, an extra leaf, so 19 in total, gummy bears, which I recommend you eat immediately.
They're so tiny.
And the pot that houses all the brains and power delivery for this thing to work. The secret letter is G. To start setting things up, place each branch into the specified hole inside the pot. Each branch has a letter on it with an arrow that you need to make sure faces outward. Then insert the connector attached to each branch into the outlet next to each hole until you hear a click. Repeat this for all the branches. Next, it's time to bend each stem to make it look more plant-like. Though warning, do not bend the tip of the stems as that has the connector for the leaves and you don't want to break it. And really quick before I forget, here is the stand. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now it's time to attach the leaves. Use 2 hands and make sure you slide it in until you hear it click. And then repeat that 17 times. And now you can finally plug it in and then press the power button. It does take a few seconds to get going, so don't think something is wrong like how I did. It will play a green welcome animation for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then once that ends, you can start controlling the plant. I had a couple of leaves that actually didn't turn on, but turning them just a little bit seems to have fixed it. I can't overstate how happy this made me feel to finally see this working. If you're like me, you're probably now going to sit there for a good 10 or 15 minutes just staring at it. Besides the power button, there is a function button that you can use to cycle through the built-in animations. Also, don't forget to use the moss to cover up all the wires and the buttons. Though don't cover completely the microphone in the middle. We'll get to that in a minute. Next, it's time to set up the app on your mobile device, and yes, of course, it is available for both iOS and Android. Getting the app set up was actually a little bit different than what I'm used to. I have an Android device, and I did actually run into an issue that you might not have if you're on iOS. So in order to get it set up, you don't actually need to open the Fluora app at first. The first thing you need to do is actually tell your mobile device to join the Fluora Wi-Fi. So go into your phone's Wi-Fi settings and look for the Fluora network labeled FLUORA_ followed by a certain number. After your phone is connected, you might get a pop-up saying that internet may not be available. Just hit stay connected. So here's where I actually ran into the issue. According to the instructions, the phone is then supposed to have a pop-up that is supposed to ask you about your Wi-Fi information, but I just never got that pop-up. So if you run into this, here's a workaround. Go to your browser and go to the address 192.168.42.1. Then press go. You should then see a web page load that then asks you to enter your Wi-Fi's information. After you've done that, hit connect, and if successful, the plant will flash green and you'll see a message at the top saying applying changes. Then run the Fluora app. You should hopefully see that your plant is now connected. Now you can open the control panel and start having all types of fun. There are lots of different pre-made animation types, so here's a few for example. For each animation, there are options that appear in the middle that let you customize it. Though at least for me on Android, I did find them a bit hard to use. I think they need to remove the overflow of going from 100 to 0, as well as provide normal slider bars because these circles are just way too sensitive. Also, it seems that some of the options at the top, like brightness, hue, and saturation, only seem to work for certain animations. Or at least that's what I experienced. If they truly are disabled per animation, I think they should dim the option out to let the user know. 3 of the animation options are actually music sensitive, and it uses the plant's microphone to drive them. You can use some of the circle options that appear in the middle to change the gain and threshold of the microphone. Here's a quick demo of some of the music options. Anyways, you need people of intelligence on this sort of mission, quest, thing. Potatoes, boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Besides picking a single animation, they do have this really cool feature that allows you to pick a set of animations that it will cycle through, and then you can even set a duration for them. Also on the main screen, they have options to set a schedule for the plant so you can have it turn on and off at specific times. As far as smart home integration goes, well, they are still working on that, and from my understanding it won't really be available until late summer or early fall of 2022, which is kind of a bummer for me because that was actually one of my main selling points. But this is a new product, so I'll give them a pass on that for now, but I'm really looking forward to it. And now to talk about price. This thing does cost $500, so it's definitely not cheap. And that doesn't even include the stand. But if you're like me and you love RGB related products, I think this thing is so unique that to me, it's definitely worth it. So for my final thoughts, I think this thing is simply amazing. It really is. It's such a unique thing that I think most people have never seen or heard of before. I mean, simply for something that looks like a regular houseplant to, at the press of a button, turn into something that is basically magical. You know, it makes me feel like I'm in the movie Avatar, if you guys remember that. So if you like RGB things, I think this might be right up your alley. Let me know your thoughts, or if you're planning on getting one, in the comments below. I believe the next production release for this is supposed to be either in the late summer or early fall of 2022. So if you pre-order it now, you should get it, I think, at least by then. Don't hold me to that though. So I believe that pretty much wraps up this video. If you guys liked it, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe, or maybe just press a like. So until next time, I'm Ryan the Cyber Hobbit. Bye-bye. I'm done making the video. I'm done. You wanna go outside?